Here is the video in question. Why Christians forgive abuse too fast. Michael Tait, is it Tait? Of the Newsboys exposed. Now, if you guys don't know the Newsboys, they're the dudes that are like, God's not dead, he's surely alive. Those guys, right? Yeah, dude, I saw them at Christian Warp Tour, aka Winter Jam. They were like, oh, the sinners got the summer, we got the worship winter, bro. Okay, that's what they're like. Yo, we gotta get Winter Jam popping, dude. I went there like 3 years in a row, bro. Anyways, yeah, so like here, a little preface for my life. I worked at a church for a few years. I was in church, I grew up in church, so I feel like I'm somewhat what's the word I'm looking for here? I'm able to like comment on this or like talk about this a decent amount and stuff and whatnot. It's like kind of like been my hyperfixation about this as I've like deconstructed my faith and realized that I'm more like spiritual than like a Christian or whatever, you know, all that fun jazz. Anyways, dude, this video, sorry chat, hyperfixation seems interesting. I figure why not? Let's react to it instead of me just sitting here yapping for however long. And then heading offline. So let's get into it.
Hello and welcome to Unreligious.
Dude, imagine being able to make FU money by playing the same songs over and over, like mid songs. I was having this discussion the other day and I was like, dude, if there's anything that like turned me off to like religion, right? White lady jump scare. No, it wasn't a white lady jump scare, although that, you know, that's... Anyways. It was how lame the music is, bro. There's like some swag in there, right? Like Andy Mineo, he got some swag. Lauren Daigle, she got some swag. Like those people, right? They got some swag. But like, dude, y'all gotta get some new sauce, bro. Back in the day, Skillet had crazy sauce like that, okay? Those type of builds, okay, they used to have swag though. Used to is very, I've when NF's not a Christian rapper. He's a rapper that's a Christian. Oh, shout out Social Club Misfits. They still do rock. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna need some like new worship music though. Like I need y'all to do a little something, man. Get a riff in there or something. I don't know. Do some sort of cool drum solo or something. I already know. If I make this a react video, which by the way, original video linked in the description if I do, top of the description, somebody's gonna be like, well, actually, listen to this song, okay? Sorry. Most of the stuff is boring, bro. If I ever hear Oceans again, bro, anytime I hear Oceans, it triggers PTSD, bro. I swear to God, there's like some sort of religious PTSD with Oceans, okay? We need a band like Hithball, but it's Christian music. I mean, there's literally the Devil Wears Prada, okay? Swag, okay? Christian band. Under Oath used to be Christian. Kicked in the head by God. Kith G. Yeah. What? Chucky, what did you just send me? Can we play a game instead? No, sorry, dude. We're on hyperfixation land.
My name is Lauren, and today we are going to be talking about something that
Lauren, like Dangle?
has really hit home for a lot of people who have left the evangelical community. The whole situation with Michael Tait, the lead singer of the Newsboys, is the focus of today's video. And honestly, it wasn't an easy...
Dude, look at this cut, bro. I have no room to talk. My hairline's going, but man, dude, man.
One to make. It's like watching a familiar...
Oh, they got another one. They doubled. Oh my God. They multiplied. They multiplied, bro.
Story unfold. It's I've seen this
bro said looking like a misformed Mike and I. Nah.
Before type of thing, and it shows us how certain evangelical systems can just hide and then reveal and then super quickly switch things up and forgive really serious and even abusive stuff, often without even dealing with the pain that is caused to victims. This isn't just about one person's actions or one person's accusations. This is about a stark and painful example of the deep-seated patterns that we see in the evangelical church when it comes to concealment, control, and manufactured forgiveness. We see this time and time again, and even if...
No epilepsy warning, I guess we'll just all go die. Whatever, dude. Yeah, whatever. The dude with the glasses looks like Nick from The Yard in that one photo.
If you're not famous and you're not part of the evangelical megachurches out there, you've probably seen this in some version in your own life, in your own religious settings. That's how common this is.
I mean, he stepped down from the newsboys, and he didn't have to say nothing. You know, he could have hit his knees and repented, and that'd been fine between him and God. He could have took it to his grave.
The church that I worked at, their previous lead pastor fucked a bunch of dudes' wives while he was married in the church. So then they had to cut holes in the door for glass so that everyone could always see through the doors, so that they knew that nobody was having sex on church grounds, right? And then they would put on these noisemakers. Oh, no, not in the broom closet. No, the prayer closet, bro. They was fucking in the prayer closet, dude. They'd be like, yeah, we've had that couch since 2009. I'd be like, ew! Ew! I know what happened on this thing! Okay, anyways. But they put these noisemakers on, and now, as an adult, I'm like, what the fuck does that help, bro? You got new noisemakers on, bro. If you're worried about these motherfuckers being horny, they definitely can still talk all freaky to each other. We serious? Dude. Y'all remember when the pastor went viral because he had to tell the church he cheated on his wife and slept with a 17-year-old? He left out the 17 part and the church clapped for him, but then the lady it happened to gave a speech and was like, y'all are stupid as fuck. I was a kid. I feel like Amara watches your stream as a form of self-harm. At this point, yeah. I'm sorry, goats. My bad, honestly. Cut holes for glory holes. Am I right?
But no, the man had enough decency to stand up and tell people that he had, you know, some issues there, you know, and us as Christians need to forgive that man, you know, and love that man and show him love and kindness, you know. But no, they want to beat him down, buddy.
When you start to see the pattern, it forces you to ask tough questions about true accountability and what that even...
You know what? Here, I'm coming to a realization, right, too? Because I feel like anytime that I watch one of these videos, I start to, like, unpack more and more, like, my issues with, like, organized religion, or at least, like, very aggressive organized religion, right? People will do this shit and be like, oh, love the sinner, not the sin, right? With this kind of shit, and fully accept these people and never bring that shit back up or make them feel bad about it or hurt them, right? But if somebody's gay, right, they definitely, at least in my experiences, bring it up way more than if somebody was like a sexual predator or a sexual abuser or an abuser, right? They will bring this shit up way more about, you know, living pure. Chris, did your church do that to your gay pastor where they showed him love and their asshole to make him feel welcomed and safe? What? Instead of peep, this guy uses, you know, stream frozen. I think that might be on your end for once. For once this stream. Make a sandwich, you know, and it was, you know, good, you know? Hey, you know, man?
means. What
you know, us as Christians, you know, we gotta band together and protect these predators, you know? You know what I mean?
genuine healing looks like and where the focus really lies when Christian leaders are exposed. So, as many of you probably...
Also, I want to make a disclaimer. This is not all Christian leaders, okay? It's not all Christian leaders. It's not all whatever, you know, everything I say is not all. It's just either what I've experienced or what I have had people tell me about their experiences, okay? This is not all organized religions. It's not all Christians. It's not all, you know, all that. I just want to make that disclaimer really quickly.
Probably already know the Roy's Report, which is this awesome independent journalism
Accused of sexual assault, grooming, and substance abuse dating back to 2004? What if he saw me out there in the crowd? Thank God I had the shitty seats. Holy shit. Holy shit, I could have got fucking diddled in 2012. Oh my God.
Group recently put out a pretty intense investigation. This wasn't just some rumor floating around. It was a really detailed report with multiple allegations of sexual assault and serious drug abuse against Michael Tait.
That I was in Nashville in 2022 covering the Dove Awards, the basically annual Christian Music Awards, and I caught up with some friends while I was in town, and they said to me, we keep hearing stories about this person and no one's doing anything about it. Can you do anything about it as a journalist? And so I said, what evidence do you have? What sources? Who is willing to talk? I trusted this person, and so they referred me onto a few people, and I started digging in and found that there was a lot to uncover, sadly, about Michael Tait, and that's when the story came across my table. So it's been 2.5 years now.
Get this. It spanned years, maybe even decades. This kind of reporting is so vital because for those of us who've been around the evangelical culture, it's pretty clear that these types of stories usually only come out from someone outside.
Michael Tait. More like Michael Taint. Can we follow the Bible to a T and start cutting off body parts of abusers who even look at people the wrong way? Yeah, honestly, I'm with it. Fuck it. Let's go back to the Old Testament. Fuck it. Since y'all can't get this whole love everybody shit down correctly, not in a freak way like Michael Tait, okay? Since y'all can't get this shit down about loving everybody, and that includes gay people and Muslims and trans people and non-binary people and all of that, right? Since y'all can't get all that down, then fine. We'll just go back to the Old fucking Testament, okay? Fine. W. Beard, yo. Thank you, Princess of Death. Appreciate you, goat.
Side the system digs it up. Internal mechanisms oftentimes will fail you and won't get people the help that they so desperately need when they're the victims of abuse. It really says a lot about how closed off and self-protective some parts of the Christian music world can be. Reputations are fiercely guarded, and often it's done so at the expense of truth and justice. Then
since we all just can't love thy neighbor, let's go back to the God who would have flooded the world for fun. Yeah, dude, y'all are out of hand.
Few days only after this big bombshell dropped, Michael Tait himself put out a statement. He actually admitted that the reports were, in quotes, largely true. He said he touched men in an unwanted...
Oh my god, I could have got diddled in 2012. They could have been diddling me in 2012. I was jealous of that young boy that got to go up on stage with him. Thank God. Thank God I was not that dude. Holy shit.
...sensual way, and that he'd been leading a double life for 20 years. He called it sin and mentioned that he was getting help. And seriously, this is where the evangelical alarm bells start to ring. They're blaring in my ears because what we are seeing here is the classic evangelical playbook on how to manage a public crisis and public perceptions, and crucially to really reframe a deeply harmful situation into a narrative of spiritual warfare and spiritual struggle.
Bro did worse things than Wilbur and still took more accountability. Oh my God, bro. Wilbur suit! I am coming for you! My bad.
And subsequent redemption. Of course, Michael Tait, the lead singer of a Christian worship band, is going to be struggling with things. Of course, Satan would want him to struggle. Those are the type...
Spiritual warfare. Bro, oh my God, bro. Y'all don't even know how many things I could have probably had help dealing with if I didn't chalk it up to spiritual warfare. Bro, oh my God, bro. Worst shit anyone ever said to me, because... Here's the thing, even if you fully believe that shit, you should still realize that there are times where you just have horrible anxiety or just straight up depression, or you just are not mentally stable. It's not spiritual warfare, and you can't just pray it away always, dude. You have to recognize that sometimes you just need help. Sometimes you literally just need help from other human beings, bro. Satan is not trying to tempt you. You are an alcoholic! Satan is not trying to tempt you. You're just a diddler! Yeah, dude. No, but literally, so much of my young life, I got either mistreated by people in the church. I was like, oh. And then I'd feel upset about it. And I'd be like, oh, it's spiritual warfare. They're doing God's will, you know? I'd be like they didn't pay me for an entire fucking year. And I was there at minimum 4 days a week, at maximum 6 days a week. Why the fuck were these sorry, this is just so side tangent to my own life. Why the fuck did a church have me there 6 days a week at 14? Why the fuck was I at a church 6 days a week at 14? Somebody explain it. And no pay. They bought me a shitty MacBook. They gave me a shitty MacBook. Anyways, sorry. That's my own personal experience, but the spiritual warfare thing is, in my opinion, again, so lame. Like, even if you fully believe in that, and like, you know, more power to you if you do, you have to realize that sometimes it's not spiritual warfare, and you have to actually just take care of yourself in a human, not spiritual manner. Okay. There was a very big period in my life where I tried so fucking hard to convince myself that I didn't like cock. Satan's tempting me with that penis. Mom, the Shadow Man is telling me to kill you. Give it to God. Yeah, literally. Satan is not trying to tempt you. You are not allowed within 100 feet of a school zone.
Types of things that people will say when abuse comes to light. The immediate confession, although it seems honorable, it often functions as a preemptive strike, and it tries to just control the narrative so that whatever else comes out after this, we can say, well, yeah, that's not news. He admitted himself that he'd been doing it.
The former lead singer of the Newsboys is responding to allegations of sexual and drug abuse. Michael Tait released a confession online. He admitted in it to abusing both cocaine and alcohol while also confessing to touching other men in unwanted ways. He says he's ashamed of his life's choices and that he can't make any excuses for those. Tait says he left the band back in January to get help.
I don't know if you guys know this, but I actually do have a background in public relations. I worked in PR in LA for a few years, and although that certainly doesn't make me an expert, I do have a little bit of an eye into the behind the scenes of how this works and what they might be doing. It is really clear that he is only coming out now after abuse has been told to us because he's trying to get ahead of it.
Guys, I don't need PR, okay? I'm fine. I'm great at running my own PR. What are we talking about? Now, Christian, you cannot tell the people in the YouTube comments to off themselves ugly fucks. That is not what you should say as a somewhat public figure. Nah, I'm good. Nah, I'll keep telling them that.
This isn't honorable, and even though it seems obvious when you're watching this video, if you look at the comment sections on videos or articles, people are defending him in this way. Let's break down the first big piece of this. The decades of silence and a culture of concealment.
I would be doing a disservice to not share with you the actual verbiage from the Roy's report. Let me go ahead and read you the article, or portions from the article. Former Newsboys frontman Michael Tait accused of sexual assault, grooming, and substance abuse, dating back.
I kind of rock with this. Reporting the truth, restoring the church. Hard as fuck.
The report says it's been called Nashville's worst kept secret. For decades out.
Dude, all of Nashville? Dude, if it's all of Nashville, oh my God. That's fucking insane.
Allegations have circled that the Newsboys frontman, Michael Tait, formerly of DC Talk, had groomed and sexually assaulted
DC Talk? That's a name I haven't heard in years.
Numerous victims. After a 2.5-year investigation by the Roy's report, which included interviewing more than 50 sources, TRR has documented Tait's alleged predatory pattern with stories dating back more than 2 decades. TRR has also corroborated allegations of Tait's alcohol and substance abuse with multiple sources. 3 men spoke to TRR, alleging that Tait befriended them individually on Christian music tours in
Numerous victims, you mean all of Nashville?
2004, 2010, and 2014. They were all 22 years old at the time. 2 men stated that they were drinking alcohol with Tait and later woke to him fondling their genitals. 1 alleged Tait also offered him cocaine while on the Newsboy tour bus.
Dude, here's the thing. If it's multiple times over multiple years, it's just like, dude, you're cooked at that point. If it's multiple times over multiple years, you're doing like all this shit, and you're fucking keeping, oh man, dude, it's just over. It's over, bro. Just pack it up. Yeah, dude, go work at McDonald's or whatever. I'm sure he doesn't. He probably has fucking millions and millions and millions of dollars, dude. Decades, 2 decades. Yeah, if you're doing it over 2 decades, bro, 20 years, almost my entire, I'm 37. Half of my life, right? You're doing this shit. Pack it up. The Nashville ball toucher over here. Dude, because I'm always, I'm at least recently, I'm always like, okay, let's hear what they have to say. What happened? Are they, whatever. I'm trying to hear out the best in people, right? But if this is 2 decades, you're doing it like over and over and over and over again. you're doing coke, you're drinking, you're high, you're like, yes, Lord. You know, like, bro, do Christians realize that having pedos in your club makes people not want to be there? Yeah, literally, bro. Like, what the fuck?
The third told TRR that Tait gave him a back massage while skinny dipping, and later invited him to share his king-size bed. There, Tait allegedly non-consensually massaged his anal region. TRR reached out repeatedly to Tait for comment with no response. It's not an exaggeration to say that for many evangelical teens who came of age in the 90s, the Newsboys were a core part of their evangelical Christian experience, said Leah Payne, professor of American religious history at Portland Seminary. They're reformed in some ways as an ongoing supergroup, most notably recruiting Michael Tait, who is 1/3 of DC Talk. They've really had a second.
This dude I just saw Josh go, yup. This dude really is just surrounded by diddlers, just all the time. Just constantly continues to get surrounded by diddlers. That is crazy, bro. This is not helping. Donald, please get somebody in your fucking PR department to do a little research, please.
And life that sort of gives voice to American conservatism. Although there have been rumors of misconduct, Tait and his network's influence and ability to blackball people from the industry have squelched them, sources say. The tide shifted January 15th when TikTok...
They were using their power to be like, if you come out, you're never gonna fucking exist in this realm again.
Influencer Azariah Southworth, who famously outed journalist Jonathan Merritt in July 2012.
Michael Tait convinced him to bomb Iran? Michael Tait has shit on Donald Trump, and that's why he convinced him to bomb Iran. Yep. Sorry, let me go back a little bit here. Sorry, I paused there.
And ability to blackball people from the industry have squelched them, sources say. The tide shifted January 15th when TikTok influencer Azariah Southworth, who famously outed journalist Jonathan Merritt in July 2012, said in a video reel that Tait is gay. Southworth did not provide evidence and went against journalistic ethics by publicly outing Tait's alleged sexuality without consent. But it was enough to disrupt the status quo in Nashville, where the heart of Christian music's power and money reside. The following day, Tait announced he was stepping down. In a statement posted on Newsboys' social media, Tait stated that stepping down from Newsboys was, in quote, a shock to even myself, but amidst prayer and fasting, I have clarity that this is the right decision. The announcement came after the release of the Tait Helms' new single, How Many Times, and 2 days before their first show of the year at Poplar Bluff, Missouri. Band member Adam McGee told Fox 58 the band was scrambling to re-record the single, and a new version of the song, led by McGee, was soon released after. The chaos left Newsboy fans asking for ticket refunds on social media or expressing confusion at the quick turnaround of lead singers. In September 2010, 22-year-old Steven, who asked to remain anonymous, was living the dream. As a touring musician for the Chris Sly Band, he walked onto a festival stage every night and played guitar to crowds of screaming teenagers. Growing up in a conservative Christian family with missionary parents, this was surreal.
You can be gay and Christian, but you don't have to touch people. Literally, bro. Literally. You're such a menace to Nashville. Even he was shocked when it got out and he got fired. They called him gay, but not an abuser. Yeah, crazy, by the way. Crazy. And that's what got him to leave the band. Not that he was an abuser, right? I mean, maybe he was like, ah, shit, I'm also an abuser. Fuck, I better get out of here. I do accept this label, unlike Wilbur's suit. Damn, bro.
I was a huge DC Talk fan, and Tait was just like a weird idol, Steven told. As a kid, Steven had played DC Talk's Jesus Freak on repeat, even though it was outlawed by his parents. So when the Chris Sly Band was offered a slot opening for the Newsboys with Tait as lead singer, Steven was in awe. But things took a turn when Tait seemed to take a special interest in him. Lead singer Chris Sly recounted to TRR the moment Tait first saw Steven, saying he was intensely focused on the 22-year-old while their band played on stage before a Newsboys set. Most of the time, big stars do not hang around and watch the opener shows, Sly said. I remember sort of being peeved that Tait cared more about my bandmate than he cared about me, and it slowly evolved into something that I felt was weird. Initially, Steven and Tait met briefly backstage during a pre-concert prayer led by Tait. After the tour ended, Steven worked as a clerk at a store in Brentwood, a suburb 10 miles south of Nashville. It was here he encountered his childhood idol again 2 months later, and this time Tait gave him his phone number. It started out we were friends, Stephen recalled. We went to a movie, he picked me up, and then we would usually just play darts at this bar in Nipper's Corner. Stephen wasn't fazed by the 21-year age gap between them, but Sly, who was both his bandmate and housemate, was acutely aware of it. It felt like a weird, attraction sort of thing, Sly told TRR. They were texting all the time, and they got really close really fast. It was just love bombing. Tait was pouring it on to Stephen in really interesting and kind of gross ways.
Yo, did someone tell this guy that he could have just asked these guys out on a date, and if they not gay, then move on? Well, the thing is he couldn't do that because it would hurt Newsboys. This dude probably, or at least somewhat, realizes that, it doesn't, the thing that hurts the Newsboys is not the abuse allegations. It's the him being gay allegations for so many of these Christians. He could not have been gay. I guarantee you, that is why he hid this shit so hard. Not even the abuse shit. I'm sure they are not worried about that at all, because they can just be like, I've sinned before. I've caused pain. And everyone would clap for them and be excited and giddy and be like, oh my God, he's going to redeem himself, whatever. Oh, this next album's going to be great because he's going to get closer with the Lord or whatever. No, it's the fact that he's gay, and everyone's like, whoa, buddy. The sinner, not the sin. Okay, get the fuck out of here. Being gay has nothing to do with it. He would have done it to women if he was attracted to women. Yeah, and if he was attracted to women and he did that shit to women, then he would still be in fucking Newsboys. How many of the fans went, I could forgive this if he was normal, but it was with men? Bro, again, I'm speaking from my own experiences with this kind of shit, right? Yes, there is a group of people that literally would have said that. Or literally, have said that type of shit. Would. The group of people that I was friends with or coworkers with. I mean, I don't know about coworkers, but I'm not trying to throw any shade, but yeah, dude, there are people like that. Yes.
Looking back, he would call Stephen last minute. He would take him to steakhouses and pay for the meal and get him very expensive shots of alcohol. I have this vague memory that there was a back room at a restaurant that he took Stephen to. That kind of stuff is really...
You know what this just reminded me of? There was a code at the church that I worked at, right? Where they were like, people of the opposite sex can't be alone together because they might do something inappropriate. Bro, if you cannot control yourself alone with someone, okay, lock it in. Lock it. Don't work in church world. Do not work in church world. Also, that person could be gay and swaying you in a certain way, to try and touch you, So, what the, They don't see abuse. They just see that man likes man. Yeah, there's definitely people out there like that. Again, I'm not saying all Christians. I'm just saying there's definitely people out there that would have seen that. Or been like that and seen it that way.
Impressive to someone who grew up as a poor missionary kid, especially with someone like Tait who you think you're safe with. Stephen said Tait poured him highball glasses of Maker's Mark bourbon. He drank 3 with Tait egging him on, Stephen said. Tait also reportedly drank alcohol heavily. Then, feeling sick from alcohol consumption, Stephen vomited over the second-story balcony. Feeling dizzy, he went downstairs and lay in the backyard. Tait followed him. Everything was spinning, he told TRR.
God damn, this motherfucker's 60 years old? This motherfucker is 60 years old, bro. He's 60 fucking years old.
After a short time, Stephen and Tait went back to the second floor and Tait led him to the living area. I was super embarrassed because this dude's my idol at the time, and I'm super out of it, Stephen said. I'm super sleepy, so he has me get on the couch, and he was like, I'll give you a foot massage. Telling TRR this seemed, in quotes, kind of weird, Stephen said he then passed out. Stephen said he then woke up around...
Cracked, what's up, brother? Oh, you can swear, goat. Let it fly.
4 a.m. with Tait fondling my genitals, and then he was also kissing my mouth, saying he went into a freeze response and he didn't know what to do. Stephen tried to pull away multiple times to stop Tait's behavior, but it didn't work. I started stirring, and he kept kissing me while touching my penis, Stephen said. Eventually, I just moved my head, and he stopped, and then he just kind of froze too. 15 years later, Stephen still remembers what time he left Tait's house because it was done in secrecy. I left before 6 a.m. This is when I figured out that he had a family living with him, Stephen said. He needed me to get out before the kids started waking up for school. When Stephen arrived at home that morning, he told Sly that he had slept over and that Tait had given him a foot massage. He only told his girlfriend about what followed. I very much did not want to be excommunicated from Christian music, Stephen told TRR. That's just one example of a story shared in this article.
Oh, yo, what's up, Falcon? Yeah, so to catch you guys up, this is about the vocalists of the Newsboys. You know, the motherfuckers that wrote, "God's not dead, he's surely alive." That song? Yeah, if you guys know that song at all. It's like one of the more popular Christian songs. Yeah, that was this guy. Dude, me and the fucking homies were just listening to this while we were shooting that fucking doc the other day. I wish I had known this info. I could be like, yo, you all know something juicy about this band? Today on Traumatized with Christian TG 92, yeah, literally. Also the fact that we typically would get he would typically get his victims drunk or tries to at least instantly makes them unable to consent no matter the age of the situation. Yeah, exactly. You hit the nail on the head there, Mara.
Michael Tait straight up said that he was living a double life for 20 years. So let that just sink in for a minute. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't something that was just a momentary lapse in reasoning or one night of substance abuse.
Yeah.
This was 20 years.
Yeah.
This isn't about one guy messing up.
Yeah.
Though obviously he did. This points to a larger problem, a much, much bigger problem in a deeply ingrained system that lets this kind of harmful behavior not only just exist, but actually thrive without being dealt with for a incredibly long time.
I want to hold space for them and their story and hear the facts that they're sharing with me, and recognize any pain that they're feeling, but also celebrating their recovery, because lots of these people have gone through a lot of trauma recovery. The second part is then holding space for the fact that Michael Tait is such, it feels like an understatement to say he's such an influential name in Christian music. He is so loved, both by people, but there are people in Christian music in the industry who adore him, as well as fans and people across the world. He has played a pivotal role in people's faith and making music with both DC Talk and Newsboys. So I knew that holding these two things together, if I had enough truth and evidence to make me and believe that these stories about Tait were true, these alleged stories were true, holding those two things together was really difficult because it meant I had to meet them in the middle. So it was about going, how do I take that journey, recognizing what is true while also holding a space that this man has a lot of sway in Christian music for multiple reasons. So I have over 50 sources, and I know that without stating names, that feels like she chose a number out of thin air. The reason there are so many sources is because I've been doing this for so long, and so I think I started with about six potential stories. Not all of them have been published. Not all of them. Some of them ended up being dead leads.
50? Being gay is like the worst sin for these people, so he had to take what he wanted and not be judged for being gay. Yeah. Fuck, man. Also, sorry, I was just looking here on Google, and Toby Mac is also 60. Yeah, didn't realize that either.
I started with 6, and people would then refer me on to their friends saying they can fill you in on a background story. There is more here. And so the process in that is basically going to each source and asking them not only what your story is, but who can corroborate it. So who did you tell immediately after the event or as close to the event as possible? Did you file a police report? Are there medical reports? Are there text messages? Are there photos? And you have to pull as much of that as possible to then go, is this credible? And ultimately it came down to the fact that the 3 reports that alleged reports that we shared of this alleged behaviour with Tait, they all match the same pattern of behaviour over and over. All of these men were 22 at the time, which was bizarre, but was just a fact that came across the table. And they all happened in similar instances. And I was hearing enough corroborating reports off record from sources to tell me that people weren't surprised by this. So that is why basically we went there. And then in addition to my fact checking, this was fact checked by the Roy's report because they knew that legally they had to make sure this was backed.
Think about the implications of this. A person that is highly visible, highly influential in their positioning, and They're located within a moralistic community. He was still able to hide a secret life involved.
So he takes all the 22-year-olds that are too old for Leonardo DiCaprio. Yes. Yeah, apparently, dude.
Involving serious allegations of harm for 20 years, 2 decades. That didn't happen in a vacuum. And I'm sure that as I'm saying this, you're going, yeah, you know, the story isn't unfamiliar to me. I've heard it before. Because we have heard it time and time again. I just did a video about Chi Alpha and how abuses by Savala, a predator, were committed over many, 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 many years. Again and again and again, despite reports, despite the fact that we should have known better. Consider the context for a second here. Michael Tait is a huge name in Christian music. He's been on countless tours, played for tons of people, and was a beloved figure, basically an icon in the evangelical community. And he had a hugely influential role. I can say proudly that I've always disliked Michael Tait and the Newsboys, but that is...
Yeah, I feel you, sister. Hold on. I keep thinking about this video. I have to find it really quickly. No, where'd it go? Here it is. I just cannot stop thinking about this with all of my old friends, dude, that love Newsboys. I cannot stop thinking about this, bro.
Hey, you know they got your man's on sex or so gorgeous. Yeah, the nigga you be hanging with. The nigga you be hanging with. Oh, it's sex offender. Your man, he was your boy. I heard you grew up with him.
I heard you grew up with him.
You ain't know what he was doing? You ain't feel bad at all? Like no guilt, none of that shit fucking with you? Cause your man's his whole ass. Never mind. That's Kills. That's your man. Kills. Bump and grind. Hey, I'm gonna get with you, nigga.
Dude. Oh my god. I shouldn't be. It's horrible, right? It's horrible. Everything that happened. I mean, I used to like. When I was like literally 11 and 12, I liked Newsboys. Okay, and then after that, I was like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, what the fuck is it? I heard like Hillsong, and I was like, oh, this shit better, dude. This shit better. What the fuck?
Less to do with any sort of insight that I had. And
I heard the afters, and I was like, oh, this is some real shit. And ain't none of whatever this is.
And a lot more to do with the fact that they would headline the Christian music festival that I would go to every summer. Oh. And I wanted Skillet to headline the main night.
Yo!
The Newsboys just like did not bring the...
Now that is also... I also discovered Skillet, and I was like, oh, this shit's hard as hell. I think that might have been the first time I ever heard a tuned down guitar. I'm not gonna lie, I was like, what the fuck is this? I need more of this in my life. And that is now why I like hardcore music, so.
Same vibe to the function, trust me. If I remember correctly, they actually would play the God's Not Dead movie afterwards, too. But really think about it. Michael Tait has been on countless tours. He's played for tons of people and is a beloved figure. There's so many people around him. He had bandmates, he had managers, church leaders, tour organizers, fellow artists. How many of them do you think knew about what was going on, or even just had a hunch, or thought to say something to someone else, or heard whispers, or even personally experienced or witnessed something that was concerning or wrong or abusive, and yet nothing happened. Nothing substantial happened. No one said anything. He didn't seek help before this, and he was allowed to continue. The sad truth is that there probably was a lot. This probably is not a huge secret to those that are close to the Newsboys sphere.
They meant the Newsboys. Yo, Mara, thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you, homie. Sleep well. Have a great day tomorrow. Also, Shoki, you're good.
So you want to know why I outed Michael Tait? Yeah. I'll tell you why.
Oh.
Because I grew up in a Christian Zionist nationalist home that told me who I am as a gay man is a sin. And then I watched people like Michael Tait reinforce that message and endorse that message and preach that message as if it was the truth. And I believed it like it was the truth. So when I found out that was not the truth, I was filled with rage and grief.
Fair. It's fair, good.
And then when I saw Michael Tait advocating for Donald Trump,
who
is actively doing my community and my trans siblings measurable harm, he lost every bit of privacy. He lost his right to privacy. So that's why I outed him. Little did I know that Michael Tait is not just gay. He's a motherfucking monster. Multiple people have come forward with sexual assault allegations. Investigative journalists have been working on this for years. I was the only one willing enough to go public with it. So, you want to know?
Sorry, there's a fly flying around just in my ear, and I was like, fuck, Jesus Christ. My bad, dude. Sorry, sorry, Jesus. I know we're going in on your boy right now. Don't worry, I'll get him for you, bro. Anyways, dude, no, I feel that, not to the extent that this person does, right? But I definitely feel that, like, people in the church put so much, like, sexual baggage onto me about, like, oh, purity shit. And then I think that's where, like, the initial, like, real snap for me was with Christianity, it was like, dude, fuck are you guys so, like, bent out of shape on this shit for, dude? Like, and then there's all these fucking horrible fucking Christians that are touching underage kids and, like, fucking, you know, doing shit like Michael Tait over here. And then you guys dare say that you guys are fucking, like, oh, I need to be perfect for this whatever. And, like, you try and make sins bigger than they actually are. All sin is the same, okay, motherfuckers? So you motherfuckers lying and fucking, you know, talking shit behind so-and-so's back is just as bad, dude. Like, as, you know, me being unpure or whatever it was. And so many people, like, I don't know, I feel like there was, since, like, my mom also worked at the church, and I was kind of, like, well connected there, obviously, when I got in my first relationship, it was like there was, like, a magnifying glass on me, and that shit, like, really, like, I feel like it might be healing for me to someday literally tell the people that were so horrible to me, and, like, I genuinely mean horrible to me during this, to be like, hey, dude, I just want to let you know that you were, like, a pillar for why I'm not a Christian anymore. Because, like, you literally, like, went way too hard, and I hope you don't do that to anyone again, because you will also, like, not even for that specifically, just being so hard about one thing to someone. And I think that's why a lot of, like, gay people feel like they can't belong in a church, or trans people, or, you know, divorced people, or whoever it is. They feel like they can't belong because they harp so hard on these couple of sins because they're easy to harp on, and they're easily agreeable to large groups of people who are usually the ones with the deepest pockets paying the church the most amount of money. That's what it was with the church I'm talking about in particular. They knew that talking about sex was an easy moneymaker. They knew it was easy. It was agreeable. People, all the olds that paid their bills, that helped them raise $1.7 million or whatever it was in 2009, was able to, or they were able to be like, oh, he's right. Oh, yeah, like, they were sticklers, right? So, I don't know, dude. I think it's all fucking, they get too lost in the weeds, dude. You should just be focused on loving each other and being kind to each other and, you know, doing outreach for your community and helping people who are in need. Bro, imagine being at, like, an hour and 30-minute concert or a 2-hour concert, getting ready to go home, and these guys with the bad fucking haircuts play a movie. Oh, my God, bro. In a horrible movie at that. Bro lost his prize Charizard card and went, yeah, this is way too good to keep it pure. I am out. Bro, the amount of sex baggage put on me when I was a kid in Christianity is insane. I was 7, man. I was not thinking about sex with the random boys in my class or being gay with girls. You fuckers pushed that narrative on us. Yes, dude, I genuinely believe that, like, shit would have been so much more pure for me if it wasn't constantly being shoved down the back, or down my throat, dude. I'd be like, you need to be pure, you need to be pure, you need to be pure. Well, dude, I wasn't even, I was thinking real freaky style. I was thinking about holding this girl and putting my arm around her. But now, since you guys put it right in front of my mind, okay? Christian, you don't put your arm around her. That shows ownership. You don't own her. Only her dad owns her. You what? He what? I'm pretty sure no human owns any human. And if they do, it's probably a little morally gray area right there. Cairo, what's up, Goat? Cairo, to fill you in really quickly, we're watching a video about the lead singer of the Newsboys being a sexual abuser for 2 decades. And we're talking about it. So sorry, it's kind of a weird vibe to join into. I just was like, yeah, it's time to get autistic tonight. See, I never went to church and had that told to me, but maybe my ass needed some of that because I knew too much. I was thinking about violence until they told me I should be kissing boys and not throwing rocks at them. No, it's all right, man. Cairo, that's why you were one. Dab me the fuck up, brother. Anyways, I'm going to resume this video because we got 15 more minutes. So I'm not trying to stream more than like 3 hours max.
Know why I outed Michael Tait? That's why. It was also the worst kept secret in all of Christian music. Any insider could tell you, oh yeah, Michael's gay. He's a deceiver. He's a fraud. And he's a predator.
Damn.
So that's why I outed Michael Tait. This is a developing story. This is probably the last video I'm going to make about it for a while. But just know that the truth is coming out, and the truth will stand.
This point...
I mean, we have seen the haircut in chat, bro. There's no way that I couldn't giggle at least a little bit. That's insane.
To a silent pact, an unspoken agreement within the certain evangelical circles that prioritize collective image over individual well-being. In these situations, they'll convince you that these figureheads almost take the place of God, that if you make them look bad, if you make Michael Tait look bad, if you put Michael Tait on trial, then you're also putting the Christian church and Jesus on trial. The whole evangelical...
Okay, sorry, this is going to be kind of like a sort of off topic, kind of on topic thing. I think a big reason why Christianity has so many problems is because Christianity, the way that it's sold to you now, is you are put so much at the center. Like, your ego is getting filled, like, oh, you're this amazing creature that God hand designed and he lives in you. Pause. He lives in you and you're the embodiment of him pretty much. And you are the light, you are his light in the world. So they're literally feeding you a God complex, right? And then you wonder why these people feel so empowered to like do crazy shit or even evil shit that they think is right because their pastor's telling them is right, right? Like, they are not getting this information themselves. They're just parroting shit that they're being told, right? I think that's why I fuck with so heavy, like, other religions that are, like, remove yourself from your ego. Now, as, like, an adult, like, getting out of Christianity and it's just, like, spirituality, like, general, like, belief of, like, some form of a higher power, but, like, I don't really know what to say it is, right? Just that there is one, right? That's why I fuck with that shit so much. Like, you are consciousness. But even really... you're not really consciousness. You aren't your skin and bones. You aren't your personality. You know, like trying to like unpeel these layers of shit instead of being so drove in there. But I agree with her so much because that's how it is. Like, if one Christian does wrong, then it feels like it's everybody's job to protect them because they are the light of the Lord, you know? But that's not right, you know? Like, no one is Jesus reincarnated, bro. So no hate to this lady, but I have some criticism for her. Please put some stuff on the walls, like AI generated picture of Jesus or something. IDK, but something, so it's not just you and the white void speaking. Maybe they should be on trial though. Oh, the dude, yeah, the abuser, yeah, Michael Tait.
Entertainment industry, with its immense focus on keeping up a perfect, untarnished public image, protecting its marketable stars, and guarding the huge financial empires built on family-friendly content, often it becomes a perfect hiding spot for abuse and for cover-ups. There's often this unspoken rule, this intense pressure to protect the ministry or the brand above all else. This culture, whether it means...
Dude, I hate this shit of we all sin when they're trying to defend someone, right? We all sin. Yeah, motherfuckers. Now y'all acting like all sin is the same. Now y'all acting like all sin. Oh, we all sin. We all sin. Oh, our favorite little Christian boy got in trouble, so we all sin. Have grace on it. Gay people, though? No. We don't all sin the same then. But when it comes to the dude that sexually abused people for 20 years, we all sin. Heartbroken emoji. Like, bro, be for real. Again, I'm not trying to like let me make this very clear. If you're a Christian, I'm happy for you. I want you to be able to, like, I would kill to be able to go through life with the bliss of believing that I'm going to see Jesus when I die. I would love that, like, to fully believe that. And I'm not even saying that's not true. Maybe that is true, dude, fully, right? I personally can't do that, right? So I'm not trying to attack any Christians. I'm just saying there's a lot of Christians that huff their own farts and buy into the religion just because somebody else is telling them to do that. And that's okay if you're that person, right? You just have to, at some point, realize that and wake up to that, you know? Or there's no fucking way these guys are putting a man who did this with the last name Tait, mind you, over innocent Mexican people who are getting deported for no reason. Oh, dude, that's a whole nother can of worms. Oh, but yes, of course they are. Of course they are, bro. And again, not all Christians, just some of the, more extreme or, good portion of the evangelical group, that for some reason have recently become so super political. Which, like, listen, dude, I'm with you to get political. I just think it's cringe that there's so many going so far right when, like, if you look at Jesus and, like, his beliefs, I feel like there is a clear indicator. And I'm not saying it's left either. I'm saying it's neither political party right now. I'm saying it's like Jesus was like a Bernie Sanders type build, bro. He's like, yo, let's fucking heal everyone. Let's take care of everyone. He wasn't like, oh, yeah, let's deport everyone from countries. Yeah. Let's deport everyone from countries and, like, blow people up and shit like that. That was not... I mean, me personally, I know Jesus, like, flipped over the tables, but I don't remember him deporting anyone or blowing anyone up. Yeah, dude, so... I don't know, man. Maybe that's just me, though. This type of Christian needs their brain studied because I'm pretty sure their mom and dad is also brother and sister. I've returned. Did anything interesting happen? Not really. Not really in the last 2 minutes. Me and Josh were just kind of yapping.
To or not, it inadvertently and sometimes deliberately puts the institution's reputation and financial stability over actual safety, the actual healing, and the actual well-being of the participants, of the people that they're supposed to be serving. Victims often feel explicitly pressured into silence, or maybe implicitly, and their stories are minimized, dismissed, or even actively suppressed. Accountability gets pushed off forever until an external force makes them do something and makes it impossible to ignore. The entire system ends up being like a fortress, designed to keep uncomfortable truths locked away lest they tarnish the gleaming reputation of the church. Then comes the inevitable moment of forced reckoning when the truth unearthed by external forces, like we said, like these brave journalists, can no longer be contained. What's the immediate, almost unbelievable, predictable response? A swift, often highly publicized confession. This confession, while seemingly acknowledging the wrongdoing, is almost always wrapped up in highly spiritualized language that's going to encourage you to forgive them as quickly as possible, not throw...
I forgot about the spinning drum kit. It was cool when Slipknot did it, bro. Get out of here. It's 2025. Let's pack it up. And to the one motherfucker in the YouTube comments are gonna say, oh, well, we are deporting criminals. Then why is this guy still here? Yeah, dude, honestly, I think that's what we should do. We should just start throwing all the criminal... If that's, like, really their vibe, yeah, let's just throw all the criminals there then, dude. Let's do a deep search into these Christians and start to throw some of their, more devious members. Yeah, forgive them for being a PDF file or being gay. Yeah, that's really what are they hitting the we all sin to?
Stones, and to just forgive them and simply move on. It's a strategic move, and they're not really taking accountability. They're only saying, yes, this is true, because if they don't do that, that will be even more damning for their career in the long run. Now,
did this guy even say sorry to his victims? This is me for every person ever, right? Maybe I'm just brain broken from seeing the rare few good apology video, right? Did this guy even take accountability and say sorry to his victims at all? Or was he just like, yeah, they're largely true. I had a problem. I'm seeking help. Is that all? Is that all he fucking said in his little presser? Y'all ever just eat croutons? Yeah, that is the goated snack. What are you talking about right now?
Owning up to your actions as sin is a component of personal spiritual reflection and a necessary step in any genuine repentance process if you're a believer. However, in these public high-stakes situations involving public figures and widespread harm, this framing serves a really specific purpose, and it's honestly disgusting. They just want you to call it sin and compare it to sin, but the reality is they didn't commit a sin. This is a pattern of abuse. It's criminal behavior that deserves to be...
This is also where my, like, faith broke down, or at least as, like, Christians have like sold me a faith in Jesus broke down. I was like, so you're telling me that if I steal a pack of Oreos mistakenly from Sheets, or I say fuck, I'm doing just as bad of sin as someone killing someone, but y'all don't want to love thy neighbor? We're really gonna patrol this, but we're not gonna patrol the love thy neighbor. And then, bro, again, the whole fucking stupid fucking love the sin or not the sin shit. Oh my god, bro, fuck off. I ain't gonna lie, big dog. I swear this lady is adding to this video live as we speak, because why the fuck we still got so much left? Because I'm yapping too much.
Be rectified. They deserve to be brought to justice. It's problematic because it completely shifts the narrative away from serious allegations of criminal or really harmful, emotionally abusive actions against other people to reframing it as a primarily theological problem that can just be resolved through repentance and a mindset shift. It's not a mindset shift for Michael Tait. He's an abuser. The language of sin really just deflects here, and it tries to take away from the severity of abuse, because all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. So who...
Yeah, bro, listen, if you got a drinking problem, you know, like a serious drinking problem, yeah, maybe that's sin. Maybe that's sin that you can heal from and save yourself and go to a 12-step program and fix, or whatever you want to do to fix it. You're doing heroin, yeah, that's a sin, dude. Whatever, right? I don't know, some Christians believe that looking at like porn is sin, right? Okay, that's a sin. You can fix that, right? Abusing multiple people, drugging them pretty much, right? Giving them a fuck ton of alcohol to then abuse them over a 20-year period. 20 years is not just, oh, it's sin. It's sin. I was born out of wedlock. My existence is sin. I barely was born in wedlock, dude. I was right. You know, I was cutting it close there, dude. But yeah, bro.
Who are you to judge Michael Tait for his decades of serious abuse? This spiritualization can be really damaging. It minimizes the real world impact on the victims and turns their trauma into a byproduct of someone else's spiritual growth or journey or sin. It transforms what could be considered criminal behavior into severe emotional and psychological abuse. It turns the focus onto how can we as the church, the public, the fans, forgive Michael Tait and help him get restored, rather than how can we bring them to justice and help the victims find healing. And this brings us to the final and perhaps most insidious tactic that are used in these types of situations. It's the immediate and fervent push to move on from the controversy, to frame it solely as a moment for grace and restoration, and to rapidly shut down any further discussion or critical questioning by labeling it as gossip. We're already hearing it. The calls are echoing across social media and evangelical circles. I didn't get the idea for this video in Avoid. It's because I've seen it in every comment section on every single piece of media that I've come across regarding Michael Tait. People are saying things like, he's confessed, he's seeking help. That's really admirable. God forbid someone confess their sins. God forbid we ask for forgiveness. We just need to extend grace and pray and forgive him. And if you go onto those comment sections or you join the conversation and God forbid you dare to ask the uncomfortable questions about the victim's experiences and the specific nature of the harm and the extent of the harm and the systemic issues that allow this to continue in this industry, or about the concrete steps they're going to be taking to ensure that they don't continue to abuse people in the future, you're often met with a swift moralistic rebuke. They'll say, don't gossip, that's not love.
Dude! Oh my god! Bro, sorry, this is like a super pet peeve for me, right? Because it happens so much in the church I worked at. It was like always like, if I had to resolve an issue about somebody and I wanted to talk to somebody about it, it was, oh, don't gossip. You have to go right to them. Well, bitch, guess what? I'm trying to figure out if I need to go right to them or not. Am I overreacting or what? Tell me if I'm overreacting, bitch. I'm not trying to gossip. I mean, maybe, you know, there's a lot of times I was trying to gossip. But bitch, guess what? There's also times where I'm not trying to gossip. you know? Like, bro, like, don't play this gossiping's a sin shit. Like, no, dude, we're trying to resolve shit, man. Can't just chalk it up as fucking gossip. What am I, a 14-year-old? Well, at the time, there's a couple times where I was, because they had me working as a 14-year-old 6 days a week. Anyways, are you going to play games today? Probably not. No, probably not. Potassium, we're watching my super autism fixation of talking about why a lot of evangelical Christians are corrupt. So, yeah. Yeah. Purple, I was thinking about playing a game, but the internet being all fucky, and also I'm not trying to stream super long. And not really any games looking really good to me other than Red Dead, and I know I'll probably play that for like hours and hours on end. And I'm not trying to do all that tonight because my tooth is, I don't want to risk making it hurt even more. So, yeah.
We need to focus on forgiveness. The implication is that discussing the...
Hold on, let me go back here because I'm yapping with chat. Hold on. I think I'm going to write a character that struggles with religious abuse and just filter my trauma and anger into that story. Yo, W. I'm going to watch Star Wars now. Bye-bye. Bye, Tassie Poo. That's okay. You do what you got to do. Yo, thank you, Purple. I appreciate you, homie. Thank you again for the sub earlier, Purple. Appreciate you a ton.
Is on forgiveness. The implication is that discussing the truth, especially if it's unflattering or challenging, is gossip. This isn't about the church trying to ensure that we're having healthy and compassionate community dialogue, because if that were the case, we would be centering the victims. It's instead a deeply manipulative tactic that is spiritual coercion. Calling legitimate discussions about serious abuse gossip is a powerful and profoundly damaging way to silence the victim. It'll gaslight concerned individuals, and ultimately, it's just going to protect the institution and the public image, if nothing else. It implies that simply discussing the truth, even when that truth is painful, ugly, and is absolutely necessary for healing and preventing future harm, is somehow unchristian, unloving, ungodly, or even sinful in and of itself. It weaponizes the biblical concept of gossip, twisting it into a tool to shut down accountability, critical thinking, and empathy for those who have been harmed. It shifts the burden of responsibility from the abuser and the complicit system onto those who dare speak up or question or try to center the victim. The harsh truth is that forgiveness is often demanded of victims long before they've had the space to even process their trauma, let alone heal from it or receive any form of justice. This forgiveness often serves the agenda of the abuse.
And then I was going to say, then they victim blame. Then they're like, well, you don't want to forgive him. There's sin. He sinned. There's people. Everybody sins, and will then like victim blame or gaslight them into an apology or like accepting an apology.
And the institution.
Also because you have to forgive. You have to forgive in the religion. So eventually you do have to forgive. Remember, or you're sinning. So. Which is crazy work, bro. Crazy work.
I want to make a point here about forgiveness, even from a Christian perspective, because I know from being in the church, my own time growing up Christian and evangelical, that forgiveness is central to the theology. But even when it comes to God offers forgiveness to everyone, and we could argue that we should offer forgiveness to Michael Tait. But for Michael Tait to receive that, he would need to repent. He would need to change his ways permanently. He would need to be apologetic. There are certain things to receive forgiveness from God that we like to say it's a free gift of forgiveness, but that's not really true. To be forgiven by God, you have to repent.
I was about to say, you have to feel sorry. If you feel sorry, you have to repent. You can't just be like, God got me.
Repent, you have to change your life, you have to dedicate yourself to a changed way of behavior. And if we require that same type of forgiveness from Michael Tait, then he's not asking for forgiveness. For those of us who have walked away from evangelicalism or are in the process of deconstructing our faith and beliefs,
That's real, Emerald. That's real. I hope you're doing well, homie. Yeah, sorry, we're on the whole theological side of this now, I guess. Before we were talking about the hot goss of Michael Tait being an abuser for 20 years.
Entire scenario is unfortunately incredibly familiar. We've witnessed this cycle play out countless times. And the initial prolonged concealment, the forced exposure due to external pressure, the quick spiritually framed confession, the immediate demands for forgiveness and moving on, and then the subsequent labeling of any further discussion as gossip or unloving or even bitterness is familiar to us. This pattern is so ingrained that it feels like a default setting within many evangelical power structures. This isn't about genuine spiritual transformation or authentic restoration. It's about maintaining existing power dynamics, protecting brand viability, and swiftly navigating public relations crises. It demonstrates a profound, unsettling disconnect between professed values of love and putting things out into the light and honesty and truth and justice and the actual practices when faced with inconvenient and damaging realities. It exposes a system that prioritizes its own survival and image over the well-being of the individuals that it claims to serve and protect. My deepest sympathies and empathy go out to the victims in this situation. Their experiences and their healing should be the center, and their voices are the ones that deserve.
Instead of people making stupid fucking TikToks about Michael Tait. Oh, he said we have to forgive him. He made that cool song.
To be amplified here, heard, and believed.
Have you heard from them? Are you able to share at all how they're doing right now? And
yeah, absolutely. So I have heard separately from all three
Stunna,
of them
what's up?
in the article that we just released about Tait, and I would actually say they're doing really well. And that's not an overstatement. All three of them have left the Christian music industry. They're doing really well. They're
One thing I hate about the internet is that whenever someone says God bless you or something, you'll find some nutsack that comments God isn't real. Like, that's not the point. They're sending their good wishes. Yeah, dude, that shit's so fucking annoying. That's like something that I keep saying, like, during this whole reaction is like, it's not all Christians, you know, like, if you believe in, you know, Jesus, that's awesome. Like, I personally believe that there is like some form of a higher power, right? Like, I'm spiritual. Every time I hear Tait, I think of the bald guy. Yeah. But yeah, I like don't understand why people feel like the need to go out of their way to say some shit like that. Like, God isn't real. Okay, bro, go to r/atheists. Just take out whatever you're feeling on r/atheists, bro. It ain't that deep. Stunna, what's new, homie?
Healthy, they're happy, they've got families. That's one of the reasons they chose to speak to me, I think, because they knew that they were settled and they'd done a lot of healing work or processed. And you see that in the article, I think. You sort of see their process of healing. And so they reached out just sort of saying, some of them said thank you, which was sort of, for me, it was like, I did my job well, good.
And for anyone that is still navigating evangelical spaces or those who are grappling with painful legacies of their past, I hope this situation just serves as another stark, if not disheartening reminder that sometimes the grace that's offered too freely in these contexts is not about truly healing the wounded. It's instead about sweeping the ugly truths under the rug just to keep up an illusion of...
If y'all are interested, you should look up the Hillsong Pastor drama. If I remember correctly, it's more like drama, like less like ruining people's lives and like just being dramatic and like living a double life type shit, and less you know, actually horribly fucking up people's lives. Which, good to hear that the victims are doing okay. Chillin' dog, about to make food. I got some steak to warm up. Succulent, juicy steak. That's a fucking fat dub, bro.
Holiness and purity. True healing, genuine accountability, and authentic restoration are messy, uncomfortable, and take an incredibly long time. They do not happen with a carefully worded public statement and an immediate call to move on. They require facing the truth, listening to some of those who were harmed, and fundamentally re-evaluating the systems that allowed such harm to occur in the first place. This situation is a call for all of us to be more discerning, to question narratives that rush to forgiveness without justice, and always to prioritize the voices of the vulnerable. Thank you guys so much for unpacking this with me today. I know it's a heavy one and a rough topic. I would love to hear your thoughts on...
Surprisingly not dislike bombed. If I turn this into react, probably most likely we'll get react bombed. come back at any point this stream. Dude, I'm gonna have to make it. Wait, is there one for suggest a poll?
On this, please comment below and let me know. Even if you don't have anything to say, comment a bird or something. Honestly, it helps. I just really appreciate all the growth over the last few months, and thank you guys so much for sticking with me. I'm going to continue to improve my channel, improve my audio and video quality, so just stick with me as I wait for that equipment to come in the mail. Please like this video, please subscribe or double check to make sure you are subscribed.
W. My Christian family outs. Hold on, let me zoom in here a little bit so it's easier to read. Outs gay family members but forgives abusers quite easily. My grandmother just went out of her way to house her predator brother and threatened to kick out my gay brother, her grandson. It's infuriating. That's crazy. I think the reason Christians forgive so fast is that no one is socially allowed to express anger or any emotion that's not sunshine happy. What did they have to say about this? It's hard to sit with news like this. Yeah, dude, it's like, because then you're not forgiving them. Because then you're not forgiving them. You're not forgiving them, so therefore you're sinning. So you're just making it worse. There's no poll option. I'm gonna have to make one. My family, my Christian TG92 family is cringe. What? Advice on the steak, devour it. Yeah, God judges them. You don't need to. That's God's job. The frightening thing is that evangelicals will forgive Tait's SA of men, but had he simply came out as gay without the SA, they would have crashed out quicker than you can say hypocrisy. Yeah, that's literally what I was saying. I hate how he conflated his sexuality with the abuse he committed against others. That's another thing, bro. That's another thing that I wasn't even thinking about. They are going to blame being gay on him abusing men. They're gonna be like, well, that's just what gay people do or some shit like that, which is gonna be crazy, bro. It's gonna be great. But there will be, like, I guarantee you, there's already people talking about that shit, like in their churches, like literally blaming being gay for what this guy did. It's not about being gay. Like Chucky says, it's not about being gay. If it was women, if he was into women, he would have done the same thing. Mixed Kool-Aid powder with milk earlier, and it was actually pretty good. Yo, TJ, what's up, goat? I mean, not the worst advice. When it's not taken to the extreme, don't worry about judging everyone for every little thing, but some bigger things are worth judging them for. Yeah, dude. And I think, like, just not, like, in a situation like this, like, not accepting everyone's forgiveness always. Like, in serious situations like this, where this dude, over 2 decades, abused multiple people. Forgiveness in heart should not equal to absolution from law. People who do harm should face the consequences, even if they receive forgiveness for their actions. That's actually a really good point. They say God's not dead. I mean, like, you know, that is a great point for Christianity. They say God's not dead, but Tait's Christian music career should be. Well, it won't be. He's probably going to start up his solo act. Why does it seem like he stepped down because he was gay, not that he was a sexual predator and serial abuser? And we can forgive the latter, but the gay part is the problem. I'm just saying, would the Christians react the same if he abused women? Probably. They would probably literally react the same and be like, oh, it's the sin. Oh, it's the sin. Oh, we can forgive him. Christians are often far more forgiving to perpetrators of violence than they are to victims of that violence. The number of stories I've heard of pastors and elders who attacked young women, had their crimes covered up for years until it comes out, and make heartfelt confessions, and were then welcomed back, while the women they attacked were shunned for coming forward and making the church look bad and blamed for tempting the obviously holy man into sinning and never forgiven. Yeah, well, that's literally, like, I think the fucking pastor, I don't know the full lore. I'd have to ask my mom because she actually remembers. But the pastor at the church that I worked at, the dude that had sex with like a ton of women while he was married behind his wife's back, obviously, and like you know, did a lot of what's it called? Adultery. I don't think he stepped down because he cheated on his wife and did all that shit. I think he stepped down because he had like some sort of like ALS or something like that, or like what's it called? Alzheimer's or something like that. It wasn't because he did all that, unless they completely lined up. If you're not doing coke and having sex with tons of women, are you really a pastor? Oh yeah, we're talking about the Newsboys vocalist that sexually abused men for like 20 years. Just got a new battery, shit's too good. Yo, let's go. Well, yeah, silly times. All I gotta say is, fuck Michael Tait. I mean, listen, dude, if he can, apologize to his victims and become a better human being, then like good on him and shit. But like, yeah, dude, honestly, fuck out of here. For me personally, I will not. Don't worry, I was not going to consume Newsboys or Michael Tait's music already, but I definitely won't now. Fuck Michael Tait in his Michael Taint.